Howdy partners, and welcome to episode 4 of Let's Play Planet Coaster Frontier Adventure here on Theme Park Worldwide. 4 episodes in then, and the park is really starting to look fantastic. And as I mentioned at the end of episode 3, we're going straight in and building the first water ride here at Frontier Adventure. This is a rapids ride, and it's going to sit kind of at the back of the park so far and what I've built. This won't actually be the back of the park once we've put a lot of other rides in, but for now it's going to take up this space here at the back. It will become more of the middle section because there's going to be a nice lake in here that will form part of the reservoir, of course, for the water ride itself. And yeah, a really nice layout with some very heavy theming, lots of hashtag rock work all the way around, and yeah, it should come together really nice. So welcome to episode 4. Along with building this rapids and doing all the terraforming and also the landscaping and theming around it, I'm also going to be talking about the huge RMC coaster that I built in the last episode and be naming that one as well. You guys have been commenting with hundreds and hundreds of absolutely amazing names and suggestions, so I look forward to sharing that later in the episode. But there you go, you can see the layout for the rapids is already in there. Nothing too complex, not the longest of rides, but I thought, you know what, it's going to be packed with effects. It would fit in nicely here in this part of the park. And something that I do struggle with in the game with the rapids design is just how slow they tend to go, even when you put in drops. And there's actually a gradual descent there from the station that runs all the way to where the drop is. It's gradually on a slope, so it keeps up a bit of speed, but I tell you what, they still go very slow in the game, which is a shame. I wish they would go a little bit faster, especially when you do put a drop in. Because it starts to break like way too soon when it goes down a drop. If it was a bit more realistic with the rapids, it would be fantastic, but it is what it is. I think the trough looks great and the boats look really good too. I'm not too keen on the supports either, but we won't have to worry about that because as you can see, lots of terraforming taking place. Oh, I love that word, terraforming. Nearly as good as hashtag rock work. But yeah, all this is going to come together nicely around the ride. You can see that I'm moving it up over parts of the trough and also the conveyor lift hill at the end of the ride there as well, just to get it in place. But of course I then remove it to make sure that it fits round, and we don't have any lumps forming, of course, in the middle of the trough for this rapids ride. We've also got the train track running through a couple of tunnels here as well that's going to kind of span round up to its next part of that layout too. I really wanted to make sure that the train interacted with as many rides as possible. I really do consider a good railroad as being a staple addition in any Wild West themed park. You've got to have it, and I wanted to make sure that this sort of intertwines with as many rides as possible and you get a really nice scenic view. And instead of it just being a train kind of round the edge of the park, much like the ones at the Disney parks, which pretty much, you know, it's not the most exciting ride. As much as I love a good Grand Circle tour at the Disney parks, I do enjoy a train what goes more through the park. The train at Portaventura is a prime example in Spain. That's a good layout, takes you through Far West and a few through the China themed area, and you get some really nice views of the park, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with this one. Of course, the train at Disneyland in California, that's actually better since the Star Wars expansion was put in, because it meant that the actually brought the layout further through parts of the park and Frontierland, and yeah, it looks really nice now with the crossing what they put in, all the waterfalls along there. We're definitely going to have something like that on this train, a bit of a viaduct at some point. I'm not too sure exactly where yet, but I think a viaduct for the train will be fantastic. Going back then to the rapids ride, as you can see, all the terraforming's coming on nicely and just starting to put a bit of a basic station building in there as well. Now, you've probably noticed that, of course, I've built this up on the hill. That was mainly due to, I want to make sure this park has some nice elevations, and we're actually going to start to raise up the park a little bit behind this rapids and take it up another level. You don't really have many flat theme parks, especially with this theme. So yeah, we're going to raise it up slightly as we make our way round to this next section, which I'll be working on in episode 5. But yeah, it's coming together nicely so far, this rapids. Wanted to make sure that we don't have too tall of a peak on this station building here, just so it doesn't look too out of place. It's all about sight lines, making sure it looks good from down on ground level and from various different angles. And yeah, I just want to make sure we don't have anything too tall up on there. But the main reason for raising it up as well was to actually make sure we get a bit of speed from the rapids itself. Like I say, they do take a while to build up any sort of speed, and they soon slow down again, the rapids rising Planet Coaster. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that I had it on a bit of a gradual descent all the way around here. Of course, we have a reservoir that I've put in as well, which is on the far right of the layout. That's a very realistic point that a lot of water rides need to have, unless they've got sort of a natural kind of lake or whatever nearby to take the water from and filter. But yeah, most water rides, they do need to have a reservoir built for them if they don't have a natural sort of bit of water coming from nearby for them. But yeah, of course, we've put that reservoir in place for this rapids ride. And of course, the lift hill at the end, the conveyor belt lift hill to take riders back up to the top. Again, that's more of a traditional thing for rapids rides. A lot of them start higher up and then they gradually make their way down, and then you go up a lift hill at the end. Of course, there's some rapids that have a lift hill maybe halfway through the layout and then do a drop, but you look at the likes of Rumba Rapids at Thorpe Park, Congo River Rapids at Alton Towers, Grand Canyon Rapids out at Port Ventura. It's just a standard kind of design to have the lift hill right near the end, because of course it flows down, doesn't it? You're gradually getting lower throughout the ride layouts. But I'm pleased with the layout, what I've done. Like I say, it's not the longest, but I think that's mainly because of the speed that these go. It's not the most exciting of rides, so I want to make sure that I put in as much theme in and special effects. Already the rock work is starting to come on nicely round here, and there's going to be quite a lot of theme in, lots of water effects. We're going to have a nice set of waterfalls. We're going to have all splashes taking place at sort of down the drop and on this section where I'm adding the rocks now, and just filling it in as much as I can do. Something that I'm not really a fan of is the outskirts of the trough. So I like to cover them up with the rocks just here. Use a lot of rocks for this, but you know what? It does look great. I just don't like seeing the edge of a trough. One of the most ugly rapids rides out there, I hate to say it, but it's at Legoland Windsor here in the UK. And the Viking River Splash there. Oh my God, it's an ugly rapids. The trough is terrible for it. So I always like to make sure the trough is covered in. With that ride, it seems like they just plonked it on the ground and didn't want to dig a hole to build the trough, which a lot of rapids have, or most rapids have. It's just been plonked on the ground and it looks terrible. I don't know if it's something to do with the hilly terrain, what they've got in Windsor, possibly why they had to do it, but blimey, they could have just covered it in and put some more theming around it, and rocks and stuff to make it look better, because it looks awful. So I wanted to make sure we didn't have anything quite like that here at Frontier Adventure. This is a very heavily themed park, and I'm very pleased with the overall look of it. 4 episodes in, we've got 2 really good thrill coasters. We've got a nice family rapids ride going in as well, with a good thrilling drop on there as well. Quite a steep drop, really, that we've put on there, but I think that is quite a nice, realistic, really, for a rapids. Quite a few of the older rapids don't have drops, or they might have a small little drop, but you look at some of the more modern rapids that have been built over the years. One of my favourites is actually Grizzly River Run at Disney California Adventure in the States. That is brilliant. It's got an awesome drop on there and some great theming around it as well. It's all kind of based on a national park, that ride, so it's got a lot of great theme in. It's all in the woods, in the wilderness, and they did a great job. Bear in mind, it used to be a car park for Disneyland. They did a fantastic job with Grizzly Peak and that area around there. Check out the vlog from California Adventure that I filmed last year if you haven't already seen it. Got on-ride footage and off-ride shots of that rapids, and that's a brilliant ride. So that's kind of gave me a bit of inspiration for this. I thought, let's use these barrels down the side of the lift hill. I thought that'd be a really nice effect. So yeah, I've put the barrels, put 3 of them next to each other, so the barrels kind of roll down. That'd be a nice effect to add some movement to it. And also you can see here we've got this little jetty gone in here as well, bit of a pier, boardwalk, whatever you want to call it. This is actually using stuff from the pirate scenery tab, but you know what, that kind of fits with it too. Anything with the wooden effect with the rope tied round, I kind of think works with either Pirates or Wild West. You can kind of use anything for whatever you want, can't you, really, what you think looks right, and I think that fits quite nicely. That pool of water there, that's the reservoir, what I'm talking about. So if we're being realistic, the water for this ride would drain into there every night, and then it would fill up the trough throughout. So that's kind of something what you see on real rapids rides. At Alton Towers, the reservoir for the Congo River Rapids is built in the middle. When you go over the exit bridge at the end of the ride, that pool of water there in the middle, that's where all the water empties out at night into that reservoir just there. But rides like Battle Galleons at Alton Towers, the Splash Battle, that takes water actually from the lake. But what it does when it's actually in the station, it pumps sort of filtered water. So it comes out of the lake into like a pumping room, then it filters it and then puts it back in through the top of the turret, through the mast on the ride, which is quite stunning. So if you look at the boats on Battle Galleons, it comes in through the top. Amazing, like the filter systems, what they do now on these water rides. But realistically, a lot of water rides are built now with fresh water. They're not necessarily built on lakes now. I think some legislation changed actually regarding that. I know it did in the UK. I think it did in a lot of countries, meaning that they actually have to provide filtered water, or it has to be built sort of fresh. It's not using natural rivers or lakes. Of course, for cleanliness, that is. You look at some of the older water rides, again, Congo River Rapids, that isn't the case. That's just dirty water that's not being filtered that you're getting splashed with. But it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Now, I'm putting a few more details here on the station building. I'm using the wooden beams again just here to put them on there, just so it kind of fits in nicely. This is going to be my last sort of time in this episode, for now anyway, using this building style that I've kind of stuck with since I first put in the entrance area to Frontier Adventure, and then of course we went and did Oatman over at the side. That looks really nice with the RMC. That was kind of similar building styles with some black and different colours in there, but I thought with this side I want to make sure that once we've gone behind this rapids we do some different building styles, and I've got a good idea for the next ride that I'm going to put in. But next really is going to be a bit of infrastructure. That's the next episode. I mean, we've had 4 pretty big episodes, haven't we? Like, we're doing the entrance area in episode 1, then the Gerstlauer Eurofighter, then the hybrid coaster, and now a big rapids. In the next episode, I'm going to be working a lot on infrastructure, because the plan is I want to kind of connect up now the path on this side and the path on the other side behind the RMC. I want to extend this lake out at the back of this coaster, at the back of the rapids and the coaster, so it all kind of connects up nicely. And also I'm going to build a big food outlet that is going to look right over the water, so you'll get great views of both coasters and the rapids. So that's something to look forward to in episode 5. Can't believe we're nearly 5 weeks into this series already. It's coming on so well. I'm very pleased with everything. Let me know your thoughts so far. Like I say, I feel like we've had more comments than any other episode on the previous 2 videos. It's been amazing, so many comments. You guys seem to be loving this park, loving the theme. A lot of people seem to share my love for Wild West and the old Frontier. I just love that theme. It's great, and I'm enjoying putting all these different wagons in here, barrels, more rocks, bits of landscaping. We'll add some cactus in around here as well. Cacti? Yeah, cacti, that sounds better. Add those in around this ride, including some big water effects, and that's what I'm working on here. So we've got these big splash effects. We're going to go straight in. It will be a soaker, this. Normally water rides kind of build up throughout. With this, we're just going straight in. You come out the station, and then we're going to have some water jets fastened into the wooden beams going across, and then we're going to have these 3 big splashes. So you can see that I'm putting them on triggers. Firstly, I lead them on the top, then connect the trigger sequence, and then lower them into the trough there, just so they're hidden away. So it's a good surprise. There you go, look at that boat coming round, and then boom, gets hit with a massive water blast. Quite a few rapids I've got good water blasts on. One that comes to mind straight away, Carly River Rapids at Disney's Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World. That's got some good effects like that. The boat goes straight over it, and you can kind of feel it underneath the boat, which is fantastic. And then the unlucky person who's sat at the side, or should I say lucky if it's a nice hot day in Florida, gets absolutely soaked as the boat moves off it. It's like a constant one, that, which is interesting. But yeah, we've put these little hose pipes, water pistols in the side just there to, of course, soak the riders on the boat. and then we're putting all these down the side now to act as a bit of a waterfall effect down the side of the drop there, just to make it fill in the gap at the side and make it look even better. You can see I'm just placing loads of them next to each other, and they'll kind of intertwine with the rocks just there as well. So yeah, there's still more rocks and stuff to go in all around this section, but we'll come on to that. So yeah, so far the rapids is coming on nicely. Let's have a bit of a throwback then, shall we now, to last week's episode, episode 3, where over in the town of Oatman we built a huge RMC hybrid coaster, and I asked you all for names and a storyline. So I just want to say once again, thank you so much to everyone who takes the time to come up with these names and storylines. Honestly, I spent a good maybe 90 minutes reading through them all, and there's some amazing ideas. I really do struggle to pick, but there can only be one name for the ride. But you know what, if you get time, it's well worth looking down through the comments and seeing everybody else's suggestions, because people really go to town with this and put so much thought into it, which I absolutely love. But yeah, I'm really pleased with all the different suggestions. You can see I'm just actually putting a waterfall in here as well, which is nice. Good classic rapid section, that, isn't it? A good waterfall like that. So yeah, just installing that and putting the rocks around it too. But yeah, the RMC coaster, Max Watkins came up with a brilliant name and a brilliant storyline. The name actually being pretty simple, but I read the storyline and thought, you know what, I think it'd be fantastic. It wasn't just Max who came up with this name either. There was a few people who suggested it, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who suggested the name Oil Spill. But it was Max Watkins that came up with a fantastic storyline that I really liked. So I'm going to read that out now. The name for Oil Spill, the newly named hybrid coaster here at Frontier Adventure. So, up in the distant town of Oatman, a town that is famous for its cheap and famous oil, a leak in one of the oil tanks is causing mass corruption. Your job is to battle with the spillage, get it under control, and restore the history of the town and its oil. So, there we go, that's Oil Spill. Nice simple name, but thank you very much for that, Max. And also, once again, thank you to everybody else who also commented with that name. It really just stood out to me as I thought, you know what, we don't need anything too complex for this one. I thought that'd fit really well, and there was quite a few comments of people who thought that'd be a nice name, and I thought, well, yeah, that'd fit in really well. So thanks to everyone once again who came up with fantastic storylines and names, and yeah, I really do like that one, so cheers for that, Max. There's going to be of course another chance for you to name an attraction now, and that is this rapids ride. So in terms of the area what this is located in, I haven't quite made my mind up. Of course, we know it's not in Oatman because that's over at the other side of the park, but is it going to be in Tanpost? I'm not too sure. I mean, we know that's kind of like the initial opening area, but this is more off to the side and behind Tanpost, so I'm thinking this might be in a different area, but I haven't quite decided yet, because as you've probably seen, there's a lot of land just off to the side of this station building that's not yet been built on, kind of off there where the path is. So yeah, I'm not too sure yet what area it's going to be in, but you can see the ride, come up with a fantastic name, come up with a fantastic storyline, and we'll go with that, and that might help me inspire the name for the area that we're going with here. But you can kind of see we're going more kind of out into the rocks with this. We've got a lot of rock work, hashtag rock work, all the way around here. So yeah, kind of think about that with the name. Maybe you might incorporate that into the theme somehow. We've got a lot of water effects. We've got a couple of water towers. So yeah, come up with something fantastic, and I look forward to naming that in episode 5 next week. Still not too sure how many episodes there's going to be in this series. I had a few people comment before asking. I still don't know. Obviously, Christmas Wonderland was 10. I don't normally put a time frame on it. It was only Christmas Wonderland because I planned it in the run up to Christmas. With this, I'm not really, in a rush in particular with it. We don't know, we're not counting down for anything. We're just building a nice park. So I don't really know how many episodes yet, but we're going to keep flowing. It's coming on nicely. And like I say, the next episode, going to be taking a bit of a step back from building a big ride because we've had 4 episodes now of big projects. So of course, starting with the entrance and then 3 big rides. So I am focusing on the infrastructure, and I want a nice big food outlet, like a showboat style food outlet, which is going to overlook the water. which should be really nice. I want like a raised up balcony looking out over the lake, which should be really cool. So that's something to look forward to in next Wednesday's episode. Putting in a building now just at the back here. We've got some toilet facilities there, and also as well we've got a nice guest services building going in, an information kiosk. But yeah, the plan with this building is just to kind of block in the fact that the station's raised up there behind it with the terraforming. I just thought it looked a bit out of place, so putting a building there just fills that in nicely. And I think it was also a place where we needed some more toilets around this corner. There will be some more facilities going in around this area. A couple more food outlets will be going in. We've not really done many food outlets yet. At the entrance area there was the saloon and a few of them other buildings with food, but other than that we've not done anything yet. So there will be some more food outlets around here. Like I say, in the next episode a big focus is going to be building a huge restaurant, and also as well when we start working at the other side of course of the latest coaster that we built, the RMC, then yeah, we'll start to put some more food outlets all the way around there as well. So yeah, don't worry too much yet that there's not loads of food. It will come in, like I say, round to the side of this rapids and then also over at Oil Spill as well. So yeah, this is coming together nicely now. One of the final things to do is add some lighting in around here. Of course, before we take a ride on, a bit of a POV of this new rapids, and also as well some off-ride cinematic shots of the rapids in action. So yeah, as you can see, we're putting in these nice lights, traditional style lights around here. I'm also lighting up the rocks, and I did initially start to go with something a bit of a brighter orange, but it looked a bit out of place, a bit too fake, so I've dulled it down a bit and we've gone with a bit of a darker orange, more red really, with the lighting here for the rocks and all the way around here, just to give it a bit of lighting on some of the nice features. With it being a water ride as well, very important for safety reasons that there's some nice lighting all the way around it. So yeah, we're doing some around the waterfall. Love that. It's a really nice element. Maybe that could come into the name for this. I'd be really interested to see what you come up with for this water ride. But the construction is complete. Let's have a ride on it. Whoa, straight away the dummies are getting soaked there. We've got the little water jets in the side. There's no escaping this. It's a hot climate where we're building this park. So yeah, you will get soaked on this. So yeah, straight out of there we should be having a couple of blasts shortly as well. To give us a little bit of a soak in. You can see how it's built on a bit of a built on this bit of a slope, just so it picks up a bit of speed. Oh, there we go, a bit of a blast just to kind of tease everybody. But yeah, I do wish they were a little bit faster. I mean, this isn't sped up or slowed down. That's the actual speed of it. A real rapids ride does normally flow a bit faster than this. So yeah, I think, you know, it would have been nicer if they'd have done that in the game. But here we go, another bit of a splash all down the side as well. Oh, look at that, fantastic. And then down we go, down the drop. Brilliant. Of course, you got all of the waterfalls down there at the side, getting you nice and soaked. Great views over towards Oil Spill as well from up on the lift hill. And then, of course, down the bottom here, go past the waterfalls, underneath some more theme in there. There'd be a really nice soundtrack all the way around this as well if it was a real life ride, of course. And then, of course, we make our way back round towards the lift hill. So, yeah, you know, it's not the longest of rapids rides, but it's got quite a lot of effects on there. I really like the waterfall that I've put in there. Very pleased with that. And some of the nice elements that have all come together, lots of special effects, and the lift hill is a big part of the experience here as well. And a ride that really inspired me with that is fjord rafting, which is located at Europa Park in Germany. Their rapids, they completely redid the lift hill and they actually made it indoors a few years ago. I didn't want to go that far with this because I wanted it to be outside still, but just putting a lot going on around it, a lot of different elements to kind of lots to look at. We've got the barrels coming down the side, some more water effects on there, and overall I think it looks great. I'm really pleased with exactly how it's come together in this episode. But there you go, as you can see, we are coming to the end of episode 4 of Frontier Adventure here on Theme Park Worldwide. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on this rapids, or like the misters there, cool you down if you're not wet already, and let me know your fantastic name suggestions and storylines for this brand new rapids ride. Comment on this video, I'd be really interested to know exactly what you're going to come up with for this. Bear in mind, we've got lots of rocks, we've got some cacti around, and we've got some a drop, we've got some waterfalls, some fountains, we've got a water tower, lots of different things that could help inspire you come up with a fantastic name and also storyline for this Rapids ride. I do really like the cinematic shots that you can do in this game. It's just nice, isn't it, to see what you've accomplished. And the build time for this took about 3 hours, about 3 hours worth of footage to actually build this and put it together so far, but very pleased with it. It looks great. Of course, there might be some more enhancements, especially around the back here, once we build some more, of course, of the park. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. As always, a couple of screenshots to end this episode, and I'll see you next Wednesday with episode 5 of Frontier Adventure here on Theme Park Worldwide. That leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you next week.